You know what? I'm kind of interested to see Pearl Davis say, you know, that hit was fake. I'm kind of a little interested. It's only no, it's actually 6 minutes. It's only 6 minutes. How much brain damage could I possibly take from this? From Pearl Davis and Piers Morgan debating the Russell Brand allegations. The more I say it out loud, the more I know that I'm wrong. Very wrong. But let's see.
To Piers Morgan Uncensored. In recent years, Russell Brand's reinvented himself as an anti-establishment commentator online. He has 6.6 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, 11.2 million followers on Twitter, 6 million fans on Facebook, and they're all very loyal to him. Millions of Brand's fans have been crying conspiracy since this scandal broke, led by influential figures like Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate. Why do so many believe that he's a victim of a big conspiracy? We'll discuss this. I'm joined by the controversial influencer Pearl Davis, and from New York, the, well, equally controversial influencer Louise Mensch. Let's call you both the same title, shall we? All right, let me start with you, Pearl. I've been watching this. It's very interesting how this debate has come down now, with a lot of people on the conservative right in the main, but basically saying they believe he's been deliberately targeted and taken down to silence him because he's been promoting what they see as conspiracy theories.
I mean, it certainly seems like that. I mean, I think you just start to see the same thing over and over again, where it promises.
This is Russell apologizing for raping someone. This is one of the texts that was in the report that broke that has Russell in deep, like in hot water. Not with his audience, but general public. Russell, I'm sorry. That was crazy and selfish. I hope you can forgive me. I know that you're a lovely person, X. Nadia, you scared the fuck out of me. You're right, I am a lovely person, and for you to take advantage of me like this is unexpectable. You have a problem. You need help. It's dangerous that you think you can get your own way all the time. Do you know how scary you are when that glazed look comes over you? When a girl says no, it means no. Do I have to go and get myself tested? Last time you asked me condom or no condom. When I say condom, that doesn't mean it's optional. You don't have the best reputation. I pride myself on being safe and trying to make the right decisions. Obviously, this was a bad one. I'm so disappointed. I'm very sorry. You don't need to get tested. I'll make this up to you somehow with live in kindness. Not my original idea, which was more sex. You have been lovely to me, and I'm embarrassed by my behavior. Sorry, X. Will you ever forgive me? There was also a rape kit that was taken the next day after the woman was raped, which you can just go look at. Like, you can go look at the results of. It's public information. Did they fake the rape kit years in advance? At the same time that she knew Russell Brand, under the knowledge that one day he might become like an alt media commentator to criticize the government? Look, I could understand someone saying, man, the evidence is bad, but we should wait a little bit more. We'll wait a little bit more for more evidence. That is at least reasonable enough. I sympathize with that, even if I think it already looks pretty bad. But that's not the position that is being taken up. The position is all a hit job. It's all because he's a brave alt media commentator calling out the establishment. You can be anti-establishment and a rapist. Both things are true. Like, for example, it could be possible that somebody who's really good on something, even though I don't think Russell Brand is good on these things. I disagree with Russell Brand's politics very much, but assuming that there's somebody that you do agree with politically, there could be somebody who they agree with on everything politically, and then you can find out that they're actually a rapist or a pedophile or the worst thing in the world. In fact, the mayor of my city, and this was a huge shock to me, because I even worked on his campaign. When it broke, the big story around him, that he had child pornography on his computer, devastated me. I first met him when I was a minor. That's when he was having conversations with me while I was a minor in my back room of my home. Because I was interested in getting involved in local politics. And I was like, I wonder if the mayor will talk to me. And then that devastated me. Now, whether or not he was right on whether we should have electric scooters in the city, whether or not he was right about bike lanes being cool, none of this ended up changing whether he was a horrible, horrible person who misled everyone around him and ended up being a pedophile. That doesn't change that. He could be both right on bike lanes and the worst person our city ever had as its mayor. Do you get what I'm saying? Even if Russell Brand was this awesome, amazing, revealing the truth, alt media commentator who's showing the world for what it really is, which I don't think he is, but assuming he was, he could also be a rapist. And the evidence so far is pretty strong. So you shouldn't just disregard it on face value.
Prominent figures like the Tate brothers, right, come out, and then all of a sudden they have all these allegations from 10 years ago, and there's no evidence. They don't go to the police, and all of a sudden it's believe women with.
By the way, she went and got a rape kit and got it done. She did the thing. She's saying there's no evidence. She did the thing you were supposed to do outside of going to the cops and trying to get him arrested. But that doesn't mean there's no evidence. You could say something like, well, you should have gotten him arrested at the time if you want. But that doesn't mean there's no evidence. It probably means that maybe she had mixed emotions about Russell and didn't want him to get arrested, or because Russell Brand was extremely influential and she was very young, that she was worried that he was going to ruin her career. There could be any number of reasons as to why she didn't go to the police, but that does not mean there's not evidence. I mean, we just read the texts. Are those texts fake?
With no evidence.
And
and it becomes like trial by the media, which I just think is wrong.
But is it right to equate his YouTube channel, his exploration of various theories about COVID or whatever, is it really realistic that a 4-year investigation by 2 mainstream media companies is in any way connected to that, or a desire to silence him? Why would they care?
It just seems like they always just go after him. I don't know why.
Wow. This is some really deep commentary from Pearl. I honestly don't think I've ever heard Pearl say a single thing that's insightful on any level. I mean that. I've never heard her say anything of value. I legitimately mean that. What was that? Well, why would they put all this effort in advance for years doing the study? Is all of these stuff fake? Why would they do that? Why? I don't know. They just seem to do it. I don't know. So you disregard all the evidence, pretend it doesn't exist, just assume he's innocent, and then when asked why, your answer is, I don't think you didn't do it.
All right, let me bring in Louise.
Like, if you didn't have a strong opinion about it and you thought this and you were keeping it to yourself and you sat on your couch after watching a news story, that's one thing. She's on national television.
Sarah Driat gifted 2 Tier 1 subscriptions. Wait, you can get a ***** kit done that doesn't lead to the cops if found you were.
You can go to like certain like centers for that, yeah, like centers for like abused women. It depends on there are places where you can get a rape kit and it's not directly from the cops and they go and test it, or the cops go and arrest them.
I mean, I don't really follow this theory because I don't understand why mainstream media would really care.
And thank you for the 2 Tier 1 subs. I appreciate it.
If Russell Brand has millions of people that want to watch his stuff. I mean, I've watched some of them occasionally. It's not always right-wing people. He has left-wing people on as well. It's quite interesting, some of it. I was going to get him on my show and maybe do his. So I don't really understand this theory that somehow it's all a deliberate campaign to silence it.
What, did they have a time machine, Piers? Like, did they have a time machine to go back in time 4 years before he had this YouTube channel at all, and before he started tacking hard to the alt-right, and then somehow they decided that they were going to get him? No, they didn't. And I think the key thing here is not to confuse 2 separate issues. The first is the issue of putative criminality of a criminal case that, as your previous guest...
Listen to how Pearl sounded in her answer. Like, I don't know, like what... So you don't think he did it? Yeah, no, I think it's all fake. There's no evidence. Why would they do this? But this woman, I assume, being a former conservative MP, has some media training, knows how to deal with public scrutiny, knows how to get her points out. But I would assume Pearl knows a little bit of how to do that from being on her YouTube show. But being on TV is very different. But I also just think she's an airhead. I think that's a lot of it. I don't think she has an argument. I think she's just like, Russell Brand has a big audience. I could get some of those viewers, so I'm just gonna say he didn't do it. I think that's I think that's part 1, part 2, part 3 of the entire story.
Said will almost certainly never be brought because this is historical stuff, and saying, which I think you're saying, I disagree with you, that the rest of us can't decide that these women are victims. Now, I don't believe in the Me Too movement. I have a problem with the idea that accusation is the same as conviction. That's not true. I believe these specific women because I heard what they have to say and I find them credible in a way that I don't find other accusers credible. And I think that's the difference. It's not one size fits all.
Then go to the police. Like, why are you going to the media and not the police? I mean,
what is this response? The question is, did he rape the women? Not, should he be arrested? Somebody can be a rapist and not go to prison. Somebody can, whether or not he goes to prison or they go to the police, doesn't change the fact whether he did or did not rape them. This is diverting from the topic of whether the accusations are credible. Because the reporters who produced this report, it's not their job to get him arrested. Whether or not their report is credible or not credible is completely separate from whether the cops arrest him and put him in prison or something. But that would probably add to the credibility of the story. But I think a lot of the evidence speaks for itself. Evidence that apparently she either hasn't seen or is just plain ignoring.
at the end of the day, the media, they run stories, and I just don't think it's fair that we do trial by the media.
Well, except that, as I said earlier, Harvey Weinstein is in prison because women went to journalists. And then the police.
Well, they should go to the police.
Yeah, but it can be sometimes women feel, we just had the...
Why would you? That doesn't make any sense. Well, you go to the journalists instead of the police?
But we live in a country here where only 1% of rape allegations lead to conviction.
Well, maybe only 1% were telling the truth. I don't know.
There is not even a brain cell in that head. If you were to cut her skull open on like an examining table, like if aliens abducted her and was like, we're going to use her to examine the human race, they would come away thinking that we're like a type of like tree or type of plant, because you would cut it open and just there would be nothing. There'd be nothing. There would be like a gust of wind that comes out. You could literally sew her back together and she'd be fine, because there's nothing out there. There's nothing up there.
Does that seem likely?
Could be.
Unlikely.
I don't know.
It says to me the justice system is wrong in the way we investigate these things. Louise?
I mean, maybe only like 1% of those people go to the cops. Maybe only 1% tell the truth. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Rape. What? Was she not ready for this at all? Somebody needs to run her through media training, man.
Look, Pearl is somebody who believes that women shouldn't even have the vote. Okay, let's just leave it there.
Yes.
You heard in your own show today, Piers, one of your earlier guests who was actually defending Russell Brand said that she had been raped and the police treated her very nicely, but when you pressed her and said, then what happened? We heard what happens all the time to women that make these accusations. The director of public prosecution said there were 2 people in the room. I can't prove anything, and they didn't bother to bring a case against the guy. And that was somebody who was defending Russell Brand.
You're just assuming they're telling the truth.
I don't think it's
assuming that
where I disagree with Louise.
I listen to them.
I don't think it is sensible to automatically believe any accusers about anything. My natural journalistic head says to me that's a dangerous road to go down. We've seen time and again cases in this country where people have turned out to be completely innocent, who were the subject of massive publicity over bogus allegations.
Well, and you're telling me that a guy that has women throwing themselves at him 24/7.
Russell Brand admitted that he was a sex addict. He is according to him, former sex addict. And during the time where this happened would be the period where he was the Big Brother star sex addict, living what he describes now as a very degenerate lifestyle. So the idea that, just because he was sleeping with a lot of women, therefore he can't rape anyone. I mean, that's just silly. Because for a lot of rapists, it's not that, they can't sleep with anyone, and therefore they have to go out and rape. For some of them, it's power. It's about power. It's about having power and dominating another human being. And they get some sort of sick kick out of it. Or maybe he just, as somebody who is that powerful, who is that well known as a celebrity, he thought when a girl rejected him, rejecting, I'm Russell Brand. What do you mean you're rejecting me? I mean, you could come with, again, we're speculating here, but the idea that he's a celebrity, therefore he cannot rape that's just silly.
And had to rape somebody? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't think
women coming out.
I don't
like
think
R. Kelly, that's a great example. R. Kelly is a child rapist, but obviously there were women who he probably could have slept with any day of the week as R. Kelly. But he had a sick thing in the mind, and he had other plans. Just because somebody's famous or could go sleep with women consensually does not mean that they all the time will. If they're sick enough in the head, that is not their main concern.
I don't think you can make the leap that couldn't happen.
I didn't say it couldn't. I'd say it's very unlikely. Like, is Elon Musk, is he going to rob a bank? Probably not. I think it's certainly less likely, but he could do it.
Louise, final word to you, quick.
They didn't go through any of the evidence. I'm a journalist. We need to look at the evidence and make sure. Why didn't they go through the texts? Why didn't they talk about the rape kit?
He had thousands of women, yeah, but he decided he had to go and pick up a 16-year-old from school. Look, I don't have to see him convicted in a court of law to believe these accusers, because these specific accusers are credible.
Okay.
The stories are credible.
Why are they credible?
We've got to leave it there.
Well, maybe if Piers Morgan talked about the evidence when Pearl said there is no evidence, then they would have something to talk about here.
Okay, listen.
But nah, 6-minute TV segment can't include things like evidence when talking about rape allegations.
We will come back to this because it's bound to keep going, this scandal. Thank you, Pearl. Thank you, Louise.